look at be a better spot. This got holes in it.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty DeFaro, only seen here out of Monty's cave because the new producer got the show going and I had to run back home. Got a little feedback there. Who's that? Just bear with me, guys. A second. Okay. All right. Jimmy, big show tonight. We've got these probably two greatest women icon in professional wrestling. We've got the great Leilani Kai along with her partner, Judy Martin. Thank you guys for gracing us on our show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
All right, I'm getting some kind of feedback, guys. Just bear with me. Are we good now? Leilani, can we just get a check on you real quick? I should have did this before I went live, but let's see. All right, so I know what's happening here. Is your speaker on your phone, Leilani?
Yes.
Think we got to lower it a little, maybe? I don't know, because I'm getting feedback when I speak. So let's just see if we could get fixed that up a little bit.
Okay.
One, check one. Hello.
Do we still have Twitter?
I'm adding the big cheeses in the house. We're letting the big cheese in. Big cheese Sal Corrente. I just got to figure out the feedback here. I should have did this before we went live. There's feedback coming from Leilani's line, I think.
How about me? I
You're
hear
good.
Something.
No, when you're speaking, it's coming over someone else's speaker.
Wow. Okay.
I'm good.
Let me try something. Now speak. All right, that's coming from Leilani's line. All right, let's try this. Bear with me, guys. Check one, check two, check one. Okay, I think we're good. All right, Jimmy, we've got the Glamour girls in the house, Leilani Kai and Judy Martin. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Sorry, I'm getting thrown off by the sound. I'm kind of muting Leilani, see if I can bounce back and forth. Judy, Leilani, we usually start with some sort of news, but we wanted to open up. I don't know what kind of relationship you guys had with the great Sid Justice or Sid Vicious. Were you guys able to work with him at all? And if you were, can you share any thoughts on him?
I only met. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I only met him one time, and it was at an event, and I wanted to meet him, coming to meet me. And Judy's sister was with me, Kathy, and she met him. We talked for a little while, but that's the only time I ever interacted with him. But he was a very, very nice person.
How about you, Judy? Did you get to meet Sid at all?
I met him one time. We were in the same area of wrestling. He was with a North Carolina base, and we were with Vince and everything, and we were kind of opposite towns around Chicago, and they were in Chicago, and we got through with our event, so we hauled buggy over to the other event so I can meet him, and I got a picture taken with him when we were at that event.
How does it feel for both of you guys? You guys have been around for a long time, icons in the business. When wrestlers pass, does it feel like a family member? Like, how does that affect both of you?
with me, when the Samoans passed was really hard, especially Alpha. I was really close to him. We kept in touch quite a bit because of Sal. We did, and he got me back in touch with him. I was real. It was hard on me when I heard of Jeff passing, and I knew that Alpha was real sick. He asked me, "Could you try to get a hold of my brother and talk to him?" I didn't have his number, but I just appeased him and told him, okay, I will, as soon as I can. I never got to talk to Zeke. I hadn't talked to him in a long time, but also I kept in touch with, and called me sometimes 2 in the morning and he'd say, "What time is it?" I say, "It's 2 o'clock in the morning." But bless his heart, I'm wearing the shirt, support because I love him so much. Um, Anyway, that was the hardest one on me. It was the Samoans because they were like family. I've known them for like 40 years. We used to go out camping, travel with a camper to save money a long time ago. I don't know exactly what territory it was, but Alpha had a camper, and I think Sika had one maybe, and a couple other people, but it was like a convoy. We traveled and stayed in this camper, every night, and it was quite fun, but it was hard because we weren't making that much money back then. It must have been back in 1979 or 80. But
Leilani, was that like a college type of thing for you when was that like a college thing for you growing up in wrestling and being able to travel? Was that your experience growing up? Is that how you got your experience in life?
I did do a lot of traveling. Of course, I was a heel, so I was put on a circuit with ladies they wanted to push, and that's what I would do: help the girls climb up the ladder. That's how I and I loved it. And I was doing psychology in the ring. I still am, and when I get better and have my surgery and get better, I want to teach again. So that's what I really want to do. And teach the right way, like bumps and just everything that comes with it to help the talent to not hurt themselves or do such stupid things I've seen. But I'll find out later in years, what it's like and what they're going to feel like.
What do you think of today's wrestling with the level of success the women have seen in recent years? I mean, what would you two ladies be worth today? What do you think when you see the kind of money that they make today? Because after all, without you blazing that trail, I don't think these ladies are here. How do you feel seeing today's current landscape with the salaries and what they do and how the business has changed?
For me, I'm happy that they're making the money. It's about time for the women to get on board and make it, make as much. They still not making as much as some of the guys are, but I'm happy that it has come to that point where they can make some money. It wasn't like when we were doing it, but I mean, and some of the things they do, is very dangerous, and if they're not careful, they're not going to be around to spend the money.
Leilani?
I kind of like the way it's dangerous. Um, but I think some of the girls can really work a lot better than what was seen years ago. It's a lot different. I think the Glamour girls, when the Glamour girls came in, it kind of changed it a little bit. It got a little more faster pace and a little different. So it continued that. Because wrestling's like a cycle. It goes in cycles. It'll come back to old school and it'll come back to old territories, and it's like a cycle. And um, I see a lot of the girls on TV. Some of them I want to help out. I see a lot of things they can learn to do and not have to do half of what they're doing and still getting themselves over. I think they're doing too much. I like it. Some of it I watch. I watch mostly old school. I put old school from the 80s mostly on my TV if I'm doing stuff. But I like to watch the 80s and some of the 90s wrestling. But today's wrestling I don't really watch that much. But old school I do because that's where I'm from. And I'm
Do you,
glad I
do
came
you do you
era.
find do you find it ironic that I'm sorry, Leilani. Do you find it ironic that the Jumping Bomb Angels are, who basically were a prototype for what we see today with a lot of the ability to fly around a lot. Is that ironic to you that the Jumping Bomb Angels could very well be pointed to as a blueprint as to how some wrestlers wrestle nowadays?
Are they still working? Um,
No, the Angels no, but the Angels' impact, their impact on the business. There's been a lot of their style has become almost the norm times 10 with all the flying around. They were really the beginning of a lot of that.
with them. It was a lot different, and it took a lot of practice. And he was speaking no English, so we had to kind of fill each other out. But
Yeah.
we got our matches good down packed, and
Mhm.
it cut off short. uh, I wish it could have gone a little bit longer. I was prepared for that. I wasn't prepared to retire. And I kind of retired in '95, maybe '94. I retired before WrestleMania 10. I mean, retired about a year and a half, and got back into it a little bit. Didn't WrestleMania with longer.
Well, before we move on, I think me and Jimmy want to take a moment to say to both of you, thank you for what you've both done, have done for the industry. We've had Wendy Richter on the show. We've had Rockin' Robin on the show. Icons, but no bigger icons than both of you, and for what both of you have done for wrestling. So we just wanted to take a moment to thank you before we started the interview. So thank you again.
Oh,
Thank you.
All right. I usually wait, for this, but when I got to meet you guys at the gathering, it was really probably and I didn't really expect it. I don't know how much of this show you watch, but I haven't always been a huge fan of the women's side of the wrestling. I understand the importance, but meeting you two, was really a highlight for me. And underneath my shades, I told Mike I got a little teary. I was like, wow, because it was so nice to meet you, and your greetings were so nice to me. I was very honored by that. Uh, when I got to talk to you ladies for the brief time I did, I really learned a lot about Moolah. Can you talk to us about Moolah? And she's got this rep and stuff. Maybe you can help clear it up. We've all heard the dirt, obviously, but what did Moolah mean to pro wrestling, to both of you? What did she mean to you and to pro wrestling in general? How about Judy take it away first?
Well, I mean, I have to give Lillian credit. I mean, I trained with her. I trained at her facility. She didn't really train me. I was with Leilani, Joyce Grable, and Vicky Williams, and all the other girls that was around there. They're the ones that gets in there and train you. Moolah just stand outside. You have to give her credit though. She gave women, she was a booker for women where there wasn't that many people booking women at that time. And she kind of held it together in her way. So you had to give her props for that. What I don't agree with and should have never agreed with is how she did with our money. I mean, she had some good thoughts on herself about putting over people, but only who she wanted to put over. If she had any ideals about putting any girls that was better than her, she's not going to do that. She is not going to get out of the limelight to give anybody else that extension to carry on.
Was it unbearable for some? To like, are there people? Is it legitimate? Some of the stories we've heard about Moolah, was it truly unbearable for some? How about you, Leilani? What's your memories of Moolah? Does the reputation fit?
I hate getting started on this, but it just takes somebody to get me started. um, she was definitely a legend. I can't take that away from her. Um, when I came to Lewis, I looked up to her. I was excited to meet her, and my impression of her when I first met her was she was drinking, partying, and having a good time. So she was really sweet and nice. As I went on training, it got a little bit harder, and as I got on the road, I think, if any of us got asked for quite a bit, that really bothered her. Uh, uh, Problems with her were kind of personal because she stayed around me a lot of times. She was my manager, and she traveled with me, and she made me very nervous after a while. I do a few things. If I made anything wrong, it's against her or making her look stupid. Oh Lord, I'd get it. I mean, one time she hit me with the palm of her hand upside the head, because I had made some interview in WrestleMania 1. I had never made a promo in my life. I was new. I was green. I had no idea what I was in the middle of doing. She never explained anything to me. In fact, I don't even know what I made on WrestleMania. To tell you the truth, I to this day I don't know what I made, but that's beyond the fact. I didn't really care if I was on it or not. I was just wanting to work everywhere. I was in Japan, and she pulled me out there to come back and start doing this little gimmick on for WrestleMania. And I didn't have no idea what was going on. Then I went over on Wendy. I went to an event with her, went over on Wendy. And I was wondering why I did that. It was going so good. I didn't understand it. Never, um, Finally, Don Morocco talked to me and told me what WrestleMania was all about. He told me that, it was the first pay-per-view, like Saturday, whatever it was. And I was happy for that, but it wasn't no bigger to me than any other event. Plus, she was there. It made me really nervous. It was kind of hard, but I don't know what her problem was. She told me before we went there, she said, I want to let you know that I begged Vince McMahon to put you on. I said, well, put me on what? I said, why do you have to beg? Then why are you running girls? Or why are you booking girls if you have to beg? It doesn't make no sense. You have to beg. It didn't matter to me where I went to. I just wanted to work.
Lalani, I got to ask you this, okay? You are about to take part in that WrestleMania, one of the most important angles that launched WrestleMania, one of the platform matches of that card. You have no ability to get to Vince McMahon with all your fears. Are you just that afraid of Moolah? I'm sorry to ask such a personal question, but were you able to get to Vince?
I wasn't afraid of her. I was mainly trying to keep myself in Japan. But when I did this, it was like I had to do this. It was like
Right.
you have to do this. It wasn't like you just pick somebody. She started picking on me, so it brought my confidence down. Especially when she said that Vince McMahon said she had to beg him. Why would she have to beg him to book one of the girls on the event for her? It don't make any sense. But
Right.
she did that, I guess, just to keep me down below,
Okay.
below her belt level, so I won't try to take anything from her. And I never tried to. And she was just angry with me at WrestleMania. She was just mad at me the whole time there. It was miserable. It was miserable.
Leilani, did you know at that point on how big WrestleMania was going to be, or it took Morocco to tell you that this is going to become one of the biggest events of all time? Because if you think about it, you defeating Richter, and Richter at that point was maybe one of the hottest. Not forget about women or men. She, as an athlete in wrestling, she was huge. Did you not realize what you were actually accomplishing at this moment?
Or was this just another special card of some kind?
I just come back to Japan, and she said, I have you booked with Wendy. You're going to get the belt. And I said, okay, well, where are we going to do that? And she said, in Madison Square Garden. I said, okay. So should I work out with Wendy, or what should we do? And she said, no, we'll just meet her there. Fine. I said, okay. And so we did a match, and I didn't know anything about WrestleMania when I did my match with Wendy, and I went over on Wendy. I had no clue about WrestleMania. She said, Wendy will get the belt back in about 2 months. That's all she told me. I said, okay, so work a little program. That's fine, but I really just didn't want her with me. I could do fine with Wendy by myself, and Wendy didn't have to be around her, but I had to be around her, and it was just, oh, God, it was miserable. I swear to God, I didn't know anything about it. So Don explained it to me what it was about, what we're doing. He said they had a meeting, and they talked about what we're going to do. And Leilani's going to do this, because she could probably work with Wendy. She's the oldest one, I guess I was the oldest heel at Moe's. I don't know, but I'd worked out with Wendy a little bit, and I wanted to go to Vince, but couldn't do that. It was just hard to just go to him. Couldn't do that with. We didn't want to go over her head. Nobody ever talked when it was moving. Ever talked about anything going on. Everybody stayed quiet. I did too. I just dealt with it. I wanted her to be with me to be my security and help me get through it and teach me because I was really green. So I struggled through it myself. And, um, so when WrestleMania come, I didn't realize how big it was till I was out in the hallways and watching everybody walk around and saw how big it was. I thought, gosh, this is big. And Rocco told me this is like the biggest card of all times. And I said, oh, okay. I've done so much TV. Um,
You guys, if I can cut in, you guys both trained. Obviously, you both were around for the early days of Wendy Richter and sensational Sherry. Did you see the greatness in them early on? I mean, Sherry to me is probably one of the greatest all around everythings that ever stepped into a wrestling ring. I'm a big time fan of Sherry, but did you see greatness in both Richter and Martel in the early days, like right away? Does somebody have it right off the bat? What were your memories of them? Mike, is Leilani's audio on? I don't hear her.
All right, so guys, real quick, I just want to, Jimmy, so Leilani's getting feedback.
Okay.
So I need, if you're going to ask a question, direct it to the person so I can mute her when it's not her time to answer, okay? Because I'm getting feedback from her. I'm trying to cut the feedback. Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Leilani.
Okay. Forgot that. WrestleMania. I saw Sherry after she started working as a manager. That was her calling, not as a wrestler. Sherry was real fast in the ring, and she would not sometimes stick what she was doing. She would hurt some of the girls, not meaning to, but I just didn't think of her as a wrestler. Her calling was being a manager. She was one of the best there was. I didn't go around Sherry much when she was wrestling. She went to Japan with Judy, I believe, and but I wasn't around her very much, and I didn't wrestle against her, so I wasn't on the road with her as a wrestler. Only when she would to the Survivor Series. That's I ever really worked with. Well, I think it's Survivor Series. She did good in that, and that's about the only time I was in the ring with her. I wasn't in the ring with Sherry very much. Wendy was. Wendy had good showmanship, very good showmanship. That's why she got so popular. People, all so I didn't work with Wendy very much after WrestleMania. Just I did a little run with her, and then so.
Judy, how about you with Richter and Sherry? Your memories of those early days?
When Wendy first came to Moolah, she worked out hard, and she started working on losing her weight and stuff because she was heavy when she first came to Lillian's and everything, and so she would run around the lake there and everything. So yeah, she had the look, and when she lost her weight and everything, she had the look to be what she was. Now, Sherry, I worked with Sherry a lot on the road. Sherry was a different style. We're working in the ring. It was very hard to control Sherry. And I agree with Leilani. She was better as a manager than she was a worker in the ring because she could be herself outside the ring. Inside, she was a totally different person to me and everything. And it was hard to get across to her sometimes how things go in the ring and all. And we were in Japan I spent 8 weeks with her in Japan and everything. And she learned a lot over in Japan too. And she wanted to be good. She did want to do that. And she said that she was going to, make it. And I told her, I said, well, you will if you listen and go for what you really want to be. And she really wanted to be a manager style person. And she became very good at it. I thought she was very great at that. She had the ability to adapt to each thing outside the ring and everything.
Ladies, let me ask you this. I understand you guys wrestled in Japan. I keep saying you guys. I'm sorry, ladies. You wrestled in Japan. You wrestled all over in every region. Being that the WWE ended up being the biggest organization, I'll ask Leilani first. Do you think that Cyndi Lauper deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? And what did she mean to women's wrestling, to both you ladies?
I liked Cindy. I liked her. She was really, really into her girl. She was into Wendy, and she was serious, and she she was good, and she was real good to me. I come back from Japan, and my hair was like a green color, and it was awful. And it was WrestleMania, and I didn't know what to do because in Japan you had blonde hair, and over here you had dark hair. And when I came back from Japan, I couldn't get my hair. She felt sorry for me, and I was real upset. And she sent her hair, to fix my hair and dye it, for the event. And I just thought she was really, really sweet. She was really about the match, and she would come over and tell me, "Now, don't hurt my girl. Now, don't make sure you be real easy for her and all. You're a bit heavier than she is." I said, "Okay, I promise I won't hurt that bad." She was serious, but she was so sweet. And
How about you, Judy? What did Cyndi Lauper mean to you?
I think she brought more attention to the women at that time when she got with Wendy and all, and I think she brought women to the forefront with Wendy in that position that she was in. And that song that she had, "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," just really brought it up to another level. And I think she does deserve a spot into the Hall of Fame. And that she should have been put there right the day Wendy went in. And why Vince?
I agree. I totally agree.
Yep.
And nobody, I mean, Vince, how come Vince, why he didn't,
Was there any problem between Cyndi and Vince McMahon that you know of? I mean, what's up with this?
Not as I know of.
Right. Very strange. Strange omission, Mike.
Here's a strange question, Judy, and then I'll go to Leilani. Obviously, Moolah had a lot of clout within the WWE and the McMahon organization. When a big time player comes in like Cyndi Lauper, who means a lot to that organization, is kind of putting them on the map. Does Moolah change the way she's treating the ladies because she doesn't want Cyndi to see what's actually going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, because when Lillian would be around a star, a bigger star, that she is going to help put money in her pocket, she would really treat the girls nice up front, in front of them. But behind the scene, like Leilani would say, she'd push you or slap you upside the head and say, "Hey, don't you do this and don't do that. Don't make me look stupid," or something like that. And people saw, they saw a different side of Lillian than what the girls saw of her. And if anybody that, was there, that lived on the property long enough, they saw what the girls saw. She had two different sides. I'd say she had a split personality in front of the people, in Vince, and then at home where we're at.
Leilani, let me ask you this. I understand that Vince held Moolah in high regard. Was there any point you wanted to go to Vince and say, "Hey, there's a problem here"?
Oh, a couple of times I did, but she always told us that, you'll never go nowhere without me. You won't work up here without me. You won't work anywhere without me. And I wanted to do this so bad that I just always kept quiet. I let her mentally abuse me. I shouldn't say anything because she's gone now, and she should be here to be able to defend herself. But I'm not going to talk about certain things, but personal things like things that had involvement with the events. The events. She had a problem with me as far as like getting in the ring and working, or I don't know why. You think she'd be proud of me because I was making her a lot of money, I'm sure. She controlled our money completely, completely. A lot of times we had no clue what we made. She can get home and be gone 2 weeks, and then she loved to play these little games and not tell you who's in, or she just let you come up and beg her. Um, she knew we wouldn't have no money when we got back because she'd have to give us money to go on the road with, and then she had to put it on our books. And then when we got home, the checks came in. She somehow signed them with our names on because Judy and I had our checks brought back to us from WWF at the time. When we left her, we had the checks brought to us, and I looked at myself. Oh my God, I don't remember making this out. This, I said, look, our signatures on here. Um, I didn't see my WrestleMania check, but so I think she told me I made like 2,400 or something, and then she took her PC after that. And then we drove up there and in our Winnebago and drove back. So that was like another $400 or $500. I knew that Vince McMahon office would give trans money for the girls. They did that. They gave trans money for the girls, and they come to the room one day, and Velvet McIntyre was sitting in the room, and she was in there, and Arnold Skolin come back and said, I got trans to give you. And okay, let's go in the other room. And we both see each other. So Velvet and I went up to the wall, and we pressed our ears against the wall as hard as we could, and to listen to what he was saying. I anyway, because I travel with him a lot. So I asked him, but I never did. But I heard him tell her, here's $150 for each girl for their transportation for the week. Because we drove up there. They just give so much money for it, and not the motel or anything like that, just some trans. So she charged like 5 cents a mile, I think it was at the time. So when we got home and we checked up with her for that week, it was probably about a $1,200 check. Maybe she said it was for the week. Then she took off the top her percentage, and she said the office gave each one of us $50 for our transportation. So she got $100 off of Velvet, $100 of Penny Mitchell, and $100 off of myself, and she got her $150. So we got $50 a piece towards our transportation. So I right then that I knew what kind of person she was and that she was stealing from us. At that time, I had to see it with my own eyes. I heard it, but I never seen it with my own eyes. And that time I did. And I told Velvet later on, she probably doesn't remember, but I told her that something I do remember, but I told her, I said, she said that we made $50. And Velvet said, no, we made $150. I said, no, but she told us we made $50. We can't tell her, we already know. And so I don't know how many times she was able to do that. So no telling.
Leilani,
We were not allowed to be able to buy. We couldn't buy a house or anything. We couldn't buy anything. But when Judy and I went our own, Vince McMahon decided to take us on his own and push her aside. Then we started making some money. I'm talking. We made like 2,500 or 2,800 a week, guarantee. Our transportation was taken care of. Even if we got a car, we rented the car. We took care of that. We flew on his a lot with Hulk Hogan. So we did pretty good. We were both able to buy a place after a while when we worked Glamour for a short time. That's where I started making some money. Before that, I didn't make any money, not really. I made enough to get by on, but I had to get a second job. So we all worked at Shoney's. And Donna Cristello became the manager so she could let us off when we needed to be off. She was in cahoots with Lillian and good friends. And And I liked Donna a lot. I liked all the girls, but I got to where Moolah made me just so nervous, and you couldn't think about going to say anything because they might say something to her. One of the promoters, but there were several promoters that didn't care for it at all, and nobody ever just said anything.
Mike, I gotta ask this, ladies. How much do you think that Moolah made at WrestleMania? I obviously she didn't give any of you what you deserved, and considering the high-profile importance of your match at WrestleMania, how much do you think Moolah walked away with?
I have no idea.
I mean, obviously, it has to be a considerable sum, I would tend to think, since Vince took care of Moolah at the very least.
He took us away from her. He took care of her, but she didn't like that. She couldn't handle that at all.
Mm-hmm.
He was paying her, I think, $1,000 a week, and he told us he was going to pay her $1,000 a week, and we're going to be on guarantee. And that's the first time I ever made any kind of money, except for I worked for Vern Gagne. But that's the only time I really made any kind of money. So that was not a very good time for me. Before to leave her was really hard. I felt intimidated to try to leave her, but I did it. And he told us that we went to go have a meeting with him at his office with him. And that's what we wanted to do the Glamour girls, but we were too afraid to say anything from her. And he was looking at us, and I just put my head down because I didn't know what to do, what to say. And Moolah was just going on and on. Well, I can manage them, and and that's not the idea we had. So we didn't get to talk to him. He knew something was going on. He just started asking questions because he called Judy up when we were in Arizona. He called Judy straight face, called her in the motel room. She answered the phone and she said, "I'm talking to Vince." I said, "Oh." He asked her, I'm not sure what he asked her, but he said something about, can you tell me what kind of money you've been making or something? Judy, I forgot. You remember what he said?
Judy,
Yes.
when you speak to Vince McMahon, what was that like? Were you nervous? Like, was it meeting like, this is the guy? Like, how do you handle that situation?
I wasn't nervous, talking to him on the phone because he sounded just like anybody else over the phone. And it was with Jay Strombo's the one that told me that he was going to talk to us. He wanted to call us and talk to us because Jay had told him he'd been telling him about our matches with the Angels and said that he told Vince that that the girls' matches was better than any of the boys' matches is on the card. And that so Vince, when Vince called and everything, he asked me, he asked who he was talking to, and I told him he was talking to Judy. He said, "Is Leilani there?" I said, "Yeah, Leilani's there." And he said, "Well," he said, I got some good reports on you girls. I heard that y'all's matches was better than the boys." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And he said, I just want to appreciate and tell you I appreciate how hard y'all working. And they said the matches are unbelievable. And he said, "I even heard that Hulk Hogan didn't want to follow your matches." And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Yes." And he said, "I just wanted to tell you girls, I appreciate the matches you have and that we would be getting $1,000 bonus." And I said, "Do what?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, thank you." He hung up. And when I talked to Jay at the arena and everything, he said, "Yeah." He said, all the agents at that time is telling about the matches that you girls are out beating the guys. And no, Hogan does not want to follow you guys because he said that he can't do it. And I said, "I can't believe that." He said, "That's true." And he said, "I won't lie to you, Judy." He said, "Your matches are the best matches." I said, "Well, thank you." And
Wow.
he said he's going to give us $100 bonus. He said, "Yep." He said, he will be giving it to you. And I told Leilani that, afterwards, and she couldn't believe it either. But our matches, then they started putting us on after Hogan. We were like the last match in the on the arena most of the time after that.
What you gonna do, sisters?
So,
That's-
go ahead, Leilani.
He took us away from Mullet that day. He said, I'm going to go ahead and pay you girls. You go come in with me, and I'm not going to Mullet to use you. So that way she'll get her. And we were under his guidance the rest of the time from that day on. And he asked about our money. He asked how did we get our money. And I know he asked Judy that, but she was telling him about it.
He asked for the addresses and everything, so I give him our address and everything, so the checks would be coming directly to us then. And all, and so that's when they were telling us that we were going to be, working a little while with the Bomb Angels, and we were going to go back to Japan with them after we dropped the belts. We dropped the belts to them in Canada and everything, so we were going to go to Japan. But we did not have to pay no more PC or anything because he was sending her the money for the PC. So we only dealt with him instead of Lillian from that time on.
So they come up with the idea of the Glamour Girls. You guys are now on your own. We've talked a lot about Fabulous Moolah, but let's talk a little bit about Jimmy Hart. How was your relationship with Jimmy Hart? I'm going to throw it to Leilani first.
God, I love him. He was a perfect manager. He has no vices. He was no problem. He was really good. And he tried to keep me from getting too fat. He said I was too fat. And, yeah, he said, get your weight down. So I got my weight down. And but he was real sweet. He was good to work with. He was serious. He was very, very serious. He was a good man.
What does Jimmy Hart eat anyway? Bugs? He's like 3 pounds. He put you on one of his diets? Okay, you got to starve yourself for 3 weeks.
Judy, how was your relationship with Jimmy?
Oh, I love Jimmy. I mean, he would get you excited from when you walked out of that dressing room. I don't care how down in the dumps you were. Okay, girls, let's go get them now. And he would be right there with us and everything. And we'd be standing outside the ring. And when I stand outside the ring and I see him, he'd be just as hyped up and as we were, like it was him getting in there too.
So, Judy, a little bit of a tough question. You guys talked about Vince McMahon, who seemed like he treated both of you with highest respect. I don't know if you two still follow wrestling, but I'll ask you, what are your feelings about the accusations against Mr. McMahon?
Well, with me, I wasn't around at that time. I can't say for sure that happened or anything, but we knew he's changed over the years. Maybe it was because he earned more money, or maybe it's the steroids he was taking, or what. But he did change over to me, he did, because after we came back from supposed to go to WrestleMania 2 and everything, and that didn't happen and everything. And I was working with Robin up there. He was kind of changing then, I think, towards the girls and stuff like that. But he told Robin, he wasn't going to use the girls, anymore after, that for a while. But I first exactly believe it. I just don't know, because I can't say, because I wasn't there at the time. And if it's true, he should get what he deserves.
How did you feel?
How about you, Leilani? What are your thoughts on that?
He was always a gentleman and a businessman around us. We came along the right time. I wouldn't want to be in the era after that. No, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't be able to dress like they did back then, at that era. But he was always a gentleman, a real nice business person. We went to a couple of conventions with him. We went to one convention with him where he was, they were trying to get the channels and the ratings. And we did a demonstration match for his sponsors and people. And I think he was real pleased with that. But he was really good to us. He was good. I mean, I never seen him get out of the way of anybody. It was just everybody was always busy doing their business. It was so much different back then than what I hear now.
Well,
It's sad,
lady,
but unless I see it with my own eyes, then I can't, say.
right, right. Well, we all know how the internet can be, but now that we have you both here with us, maybe you can clear this one up because this is like Wikipedia legendary stuff. The match that you win the titles against Velvet and Peterson takes now. Let me just ask. This takes place in Egypt,
No,
supposedly. Did this happen? I mean, what's the story here with this?
no, I
Help me.
went to Egypt with a girl named Susan Starr and Velvet. That's the only time I went to Egypt.
Okay.
And it was for WWF, but we didn't switch the belts in Egypt. I think we switched them in Canada. I'm not sure really anymore.
No, we didn't switch. We never
I can't
switched.
even
We never
remember
switched the
anymore.
belt from Velvet and Desiree. There was never a match where we took the belts from Velvet and them.
See,
It
Mike.
was Vicky and Joyce, and that was the only
Yes.
time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't remember. And the belts were NWA belts. They weren't WWF belts.
Ah,
They were
So
NWA belts. They
Fugazi,
were the
Jimmy.
old
there you
NWA
go.
belts that
There you
Moolah
go.
had, and we borrowed them or used them.
I mean,
Um,
Sal's getting sick in the corner just hearing that rumor. I'm appalled. There we go.
uh,
Let me ask you
there's
both this.
if I tell you something, it's not a rumor because it's something I've seen with my own eyes.
There
But
you go.
I've had some rough times. I've told Sal a few of times of things, and also he knows. You know, I've opened up a little bit since I'm not around her no more or with her anymore. I
God
felt
rest
like
her
really
soul.
small, like really, really small when I was around her.
I was there in Egypt at the same time Leilani was. She actually came to visit us at the hotel. Our tour ended and their tour came in. She was there and Mr. Wrestling too, I think, Rocky Johnson. I don't remember everybody else for
Matt
sure.
Bourne, I think, was there.
Right, Matt Bourne was definitely there. I did talk to
I
Matt.
know we did some kind of a commercial on some camels. I remember that. And he
And,
was there.
we were at our hotel still, and Leilani had WWF security bring her over to the hotel so she could visit with Afa and
Yeah.
everybody.
So see, there you go, Mike. It's Fugazi reporting as usual. Life goes on the
Well,
internet.
it's also Fugazi. Like they change titles without it even being real, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Right.
know you guys were at the gathering where you saw the Karen McDaniel, who you're friends with, and you met Jimmy, who's the new husband. We call it Love in Wrestling, which is fantastic. Here's my question. Here's my question to you two ladies. Being in the wrestling for such a long time, did you ever find yourselves getting in any kind of romantic relationships with any other wrestlers?
Ooh,
No. Neither one of us.
no way. No way. Who needs that headache, right, girls?
No, it back then it just wasn't that easy.
Right.
I just wanted to wrestle, so that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
I wanted to be able to wrestle.
I have no comment.
Stay there.
I have no comment.
Wait a
Nice.
minute, Judy.
Don't cry,
Well,
Mike.
Judy
Don't
had
cry.
a
She has no
boyfriend, but he wasn't a
comment.
wrestler. She had one boyfriend, but he wasn't a wrestler. So, but you see
Okay.
him once in a while.
Is that safe enough for you, pal?
That is.
You
Too
know,
funny.
not for nothing though. What was it like for you two to be ladies going over to Egypt? I mean, look, they have they have their ways over there. Obviously, women have to be dressed a certain way. Yada yada yada. How rough was it being in Egypt back in that day?
You could dress normal in Egypt. It was Saudi Arabia that you had to be dressed up
Oh,
to the neck
oh,
and up
okay.
to the nose.
They're not as enforceful. Okay, interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah,
My
Egypt you
apologies
just
to the
wear
Pharaoh from
regular
the Pharaoh.
clothes and be regular. But when I was in Saudi Arabia, I had to wear the black outfit and cover my whole face
Okay.
with my eyes. You couldn't have your bangs showing or nothing. It was real strict there.
Your bangs?
Yeah,
Wow.
like a hair could have no hair showing at all.
Holy
And I had
smoke.
like a black dress and a scarf that went around like this around my face. That's it. You see your eyes, that's it. I
Right.
still have that
Can,
outfit.
Leilani, didn't you have
can
to
I
wear
ask?
shorts in the ring in Egypt?
Any what?
Didn't you have to wear shorts in the ring in Egypt? Because I came to watch your match. I thought I remembered you girls in shorts.
Right, like not
No,
tights,
bathing
not
suits.
Okay.
I don't remember wearing shorts. I wore short outfits out on the pyramids and stuff, walking around. It wasn't stricter like that. They weren't strict.
interesting. Very cool.
Well, it's a long time ago, fellas. A long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to say about these ladies, um, you know, they're tremendous workers. They were used a lot of times just to put other people over that were just, quite honestly, just not as good as they were. They're like the male versions of a Charlie Fulton and a Gary Royal, George South, guys like this, but they were at least given an opportunity to shine where some of those guys didn't get the big spotlight. As far as people not wanting to follow their matches, I don't believe if that's what Hulk Hogan said, I get it, but I can assure you it wasn't limited to him. You talk about the girls from Japan. Well, the first thing when I started hanging around, Tiger Mask flew over the top rope onto Mr. Saito. That was the first time anybody really did that kind of a dive. Then these girls come in and they start doing their thing, and nobody wanted to follow him. And as far as Jimmy Hart, he's one of my closest friends. I can tell you that he had all the respect in the world for these girls. He loved that. And, the thing about Jimmy is whether he's in the opening match or the main event, he's going to approach it the same way. He loved working with the girls. But before the Bomb Angels, quite honestly, you had these heels and you had Peggy Lee and working with Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre. And to be honest with you, those were fantastic matches.
Right.
Oh, they're fantastic workers. I
Yeah.
love them too. Velvet, Princess Victoria, Desiree Peterson, and definitely Medusa, and Wendy. I mean, I had fun doing them. If Moolah wouldn't have been around, I'd have had more fun. But I was just so tensed up, So
We were up and down the road a lot. Everybody had fun, but these girls are workhorses. They made other people look great, and certainly we're not compensated properly for it or anything like that. But it just wasn't even though I was a huge fan of their match with the Bomb Angels, it started long before that. I started coming around in 1981, and these girls had it going on, and they took everything thrown at them, and they just went out there and worked hard. And you're never going to look there and say, "Man, girls were off the game tonight." That it just didn't happen that way.
Both,
These people were good.
Sal, both ladies are iconic wrestlers. Everybody knows who they are. But here's a question I have for both of you. You want to be the best in your profession, right? Leilani, I heard you say all you wanted to do was wrestle, and Judy did the same. When Wendy got tagged with being put in the spotlight, was there any jealousy on either one of your end? Because I know you both had trained her. Was there any sort of jealousy professionally on either one of your end towards Wendy at that point?
no, I was so happy she got something like that because it brought the spotlight on us a little bit better. She paved the way in a way as a pioneer. So I enjoyed it with her, and watching her and all. She got the crowd up just like mostly like Hulk did. I didn't feel no jealousy. I was a heel. She was a baby face, so I was just easy going. I was always easy going. I know whoever I
There was-
worked, I just do what they wanted to do. It didn't matter to me. So
There
I
was
would
no-
be the one to try to make it work. If I thought something didn't look right or going to feel right or do it at the right time, I like to lead the matches. I felt by lead the matches, it'll be okay. Because I knew exactly how to feel it out and what to do, how to milk people. I know how to do all that. And I know how to do the timing. WrestleMania 10, he said go 12 minutes. And then Shawn Michaels come up and said, could you go a little bit less? So we did a ladder match. I said, sure. So when I got in the ring, the referee said, go 5 minutes. And we had practiced for something for 12 minutes around that time. So I had to cut it short, but I got it in there. I did. I led the whole match. And she would call things. I said, no, because I already knew about the time. I don't think she knew we only had 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes so we could work in the ring. And so I was just grateful to get that 5 minutes, I wanted to get her over because she deserved it. And she wanted to work up there so bad. And she's fun to work with, fun to be on the road. I just followed her. So I always followed her in the ring. I didn't have to do anything. She just did it all. So she was easy. Um, Velvet, Penny Mitchell was easy. I mean, all of those girls are mainly easy. I thought most of all of those girls were good. We all worked each other all the time, so it was easy to work with each other. There wasn't that many girls around. But now there's probably, oh gosh, tons. There's tons of girls now that are trying to get around. And I'm still old school. I still like the old bathing suits. I don't like showing anything. I'm still like that.
The old bathing suit.
That's how I'll teach if I teach again.
How about you, Judy? Was there any jealousy on your end?
I didn't feel no jealousy against Wendy. My thoughts were finally, we have a girl out there that is a baby face, a strong baby face that will, and I was thinking, God, it's going to be a big change for women since Moolah does not have the belt no longer and everything, that everybody gets a chance to work now. I mean, there's could have been for a couple of years, there 4 or 5 women could have worked at least 6 months with Wendy, 3 months at a time, and go everywhere with Wendy if they were given a chance. And when they took the belts off of Wendy, that kind of, for me, that kind of crushed my spirits, because it's like, God, to me, Wendy was at the hype at the time. And when they took that away, it's like, wow, you're taking something away from a girl that's, she worked hard. And Wendy worked hard to get where she was at. And for them to just take it off of her because of the word of Lillian saying that,
Yeah,
she was on drugs and all that stuff, that's
that was a
ridiculous.
lie.
Oh, wait. So can I
No,
just,
I
can I just,
heard Wendy was asking for too much money all the time. She was trying to actually get her advances so Moolah wouldn't grab her money, so she know about what she's making. I was all for Wendy 100%.
So Moolah threw a false smoke screen out there to keep the money for herself and to bury Wendy. Do we have that right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I have to ask you, ladies, while I have you, because my wife would never forgive me. Please describe what life was like on Moolah Drive in the Carolinas, please, Judy.
With me, well, my family was here in Columbia, so it was a little easier on me because my family had a restaurant. So when I came off the road, I'd go there and work and help them out. So it was easier for me knowing that my family and everybody would sit there in Columbia for me. And of course, she didn't want you to have your boyfriend over at all. So that I didn't go along with, I didn't agree with all her rules and stuff. And she always thought me and Patty was a barflies. Because we went to the bars, and we went to some of the local bars around here, and one of her stoolies saw us go into the bar one night and went back and told her.
She has spies. Very interesting.
She did have spies out there.
Okay.
And but it was like, you lived there, you worked, we worked out in the ring morning and evening. And if we wasn't working out, we sometimes at nighttime at 12 o'clock at night, some of us be running around the area there. But we
doing
just mostly
laps at midnight. Doing laps at midnight. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Leilani, what was life like on Moolah Drive for you?
Well, she had us living with each other. Like, she'd push a girl in one apartment and take her out, put in another apartment. You never knew when you got home it was going to be in your apartment. She liked to go in our apartments when we were gone. I don't know why, but she did. But being there was like when around the girls, it was fun. It was fun being around the girls there. We would visit each other all the time, and we'd work out. And Lillian was more with her house than she was, anything. If she was on the road, it wasn't so hard. But I liked it there. I liked being around the girls a lot there, and a lot of us be off the road, and we'd go around asking, you have a potato, or go to another house, do you have some charcoal, or do you have some grease? Because nobody had food. So we'd put our food together and cook out something, because we never, most of the time, didn't have any food at our house. It was hard. It was really hard. And come off the road, you didn't have no money. By the time you got checked up with her, you came back with about $7.50. Clear off a week.
Oh boy. Jimmy, I have
Judy was
Jimmy, I
lucky.
have to
She
ask.
had a restaurant. Her family had a restaurant, and her family a lot of them were police officers too in her family. So she had family around. Her mom was a banty hen. She could be mean when she wanted to be. She didn't let Lily mess around with her girls, her daughters. So
Jimmy, I got to ask this question to the ladies.
Mama. I remember that.
Ladies, here's a question for you. We asked Wendy Richter this when she was with us. How did Wendy not know that was Moolah in that spider outfit? Or did she really know?
Come on. That's rough.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that
I'm
works.
not in this one. I don't understand what y'all talking about.
Oh, okay. Mike, do I have to?
Jimmy,
Sal,
can you please enlighten Leilani, please?
Okay. Well, eventually, after Wendy had climbed to the top, and the beloved Wendy had captured the title, yada yada yada, all is good, everything's great. She's facing a masked wrestler called, I think, Spider Woman or Spider Lady or something like that. It looks exactly like Moolah. I'm sorry, you can't hide Moolah's physique. Moolah is 1 in a million. It's Moolah. She's got a mask on. She rolls up Wendy. It's the original screw job, ladies. That's what it looks like to me.
I thought she was supposed to work with Penny Mitchell.
She
was
was.
actually the Spider Woman, and she was there.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I was there too, but I
Sal
didn't.
knows this too. What's going on here? Go on.
I was there with Lily because we were upstate working single matches. Two went one place and two went another place.
Right.
Penny was with Wendy, and I was with Lily, and I would work against Lily, or sometimes she worked against Penny. But we were switching out, and we were put in different towns in one single match. And then when that match came up, we were on the airplane, and Lily looked at me, and she says, I hope I can do what I need to do tonight. And that's all she said to me, and I didn't think nothing about it. And I didn't watch the match because I couldn't get out there to watch it, not in Madison Square Garden. And next thing I knew, Moolah come back, and we packed up and we left. And Wendy, I didn't get to see Wendy afterwards either. So I was there though, but I don't know exactly what happened until I watched it on TV.
So, but so Leilani, you were there when Moolah screwed over Wendy and walked away with the title then?
Yeah. I didn't know she was doing that. I didn't even know she was the Spider Woman. I didn't know. She must have been in the dressing room and did that. She didn't say nothing to me.
Mike, this is like espionage. What's going on here?
Yeah, she didn't say nothing to me. I was in the dressing room sitting down. In fact, I went to sleep on a bench. While I woke up, she was done. And I guess she had gotten Penny Mitchell's outfit and told her that she was going to do Spider Woman. I don't know why. I mean...
They pulled the switcheroo.
But if they were to ask Penny if she would go in there and try to screw over Wendy, she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it in a million years. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. What she did, I can't do that.
Wow.
There's no way.
Look,
Jimmy. So the Spider Woman.
If I had known about it, I would have ran to Wendy and said, "Wendy, she's going to try to screw you." I would have come back and told her. But
she's smooth, cruel, man.
Wow.
Moolah was smooth, cruel, man. Holy moly.
Well,
I got to ask Sal. What are your thoughts on this, Sal?
I know what kind of person she is, and whenever they asked me to do WrestleMania 10, I kind of held back a little bit. I wanted to work with Alondra. I wanted to have the matches with her. I wanted to practice and work with her again. I was retired, and just forgot what I was going to say.
I think she's in Range Overdrive. Come back to us.
This was good, and I forgot about it.
You got to understand, guys, when you've got somebody like Lillian in the middle, the girls don't know what's going on. They know they're getting jerked around. And the promoters, for the most part, are listening to what Lillian has to say. She's in control. The girls work for her. And certainly if there were plans that night, telling everybody certainly would not have been the answer. This is the type of thing you put between a couple of people. I believe maybe the referee was the guy from my hometown, Jack Lotz, for that.
Okay.
I like Jack, but I'm going to tell you right now, he was the lead referee for the commission. And the bottom line is, if he was told to do it, he was going to do it. I mean,
He's doing it. Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Right.
McMahon would ask the commission not to use him anymore.
Right.
And what can you say? And
Right.
so
I'm just baffled.
So wait, so Sal, are you Sal?
What's that?
I'm just baffled.
Are you debunking the fact that rumor had it that you were the referee for that match? Because that's what I was hearing.
I definitely was not the referee for that match. Actually, I never worked in Madison Square Garden, period, as a referee. So it definitely wasn't me. But it was, I do believe my memory says it was Jack Lotz. I don't know that they would have trusted any other New York Commission referee to do it to begin with.
Interesting. Very
Jack's
interesting.
the lead guy, and
Wow.
I don't blame him. Now, would I have tried to tip off Wendy myself? Of course, I would have. But we're friends. Jack was not friends with these people. He didn't hang out with any of these people. He knew them. He worked the matches for years.
Sal,
around.
Sal, as referee, what would you say to Wendy? It's Moolah. Don't do it. Run. Get out of the ring. What do you say?
Look, they would have had a better shot at Judy Martin looking like Penny Mitchell than they had with Moolah looking like Penny Mitchell. I can't speak for that, but I would have certainly tipped off Wendy. But where do you go with it? I mean, ultimately, it's their belt. They're going to get it, or they're just gonna not recognize you anymore.
Right, Jack
There's
Tunney
really
will do a
nowhere to go
promo.
with the thing. If things have deteriorated to that level, you might as well go.
Right. Right.
Well, especially when you're not in control, you can't speak for yourself.
Well, at the origin of it all, the only reason this even came up is when we had Wendy on. Wendy swore she didn't recognize Moolah, and I'm amazed at that. I'm like, how do you not know that's Moolah? Listen, but that's me.
The one thing I could say about Wendy is she's not shy. If she's telling you that, there's no reason for her to lie. What benefit is there out of it?
And it did happen
Wendy
very
walks
quickly.
out in the ring. She runs out. She dances out in the ring. She pays attention, looks at the crowd. She probably didn't really look at Lillian.
Right. It happened very fast.
Maybe,
too.
And Lillian probably didn't say one word to her. If Lillian talked at all or called anything,
probably not.
Then she would have had to have known before the screw job.
When she locked up with her, she had to have known. Yeah, when she locked up with her, because she's only one of a kind when you lock up with her.
Mike, it would have made a great Columbo episode. I can't believe it. She was very smooth.
That's all right. So I don't want to hold these. I don't want to hold these ladies. Wait a minute, Jimmy. She used the potato line.
What happened?
She just used the potato line. I don't want to hold the ladies too much longer. But one thing I do want to say, if each of you could say, Leilani, Judy first. What do you think your legacy in pro wrestling is?
Wow.
Mine is to teach. I want to teach. That's my legacy. I wanted to teach from the time I started.
My legacy, I guess, I hope the fans and the guys that we work with could consider us as good of a worker as any of the guys were, because we worked hard getting there, and Mulligan was my hero because he's the one that watched a lot of my matches and told me what I was doing wrong and everything. And I know at the end, the last conversation I had to him, he reminded me that I did good in the ring, and I appreciate that from him. That was, his last words to me, that I was a good worker, and I will take that over anything else.
Let's say Judy Martin is the Bobby Eaton of the greatest ladies tag team, at least certainly here in the United States, if not the world. I know you guys wanted these ladies on for a long time. It took a lot of work, but we finally convinced Leilani to get on the camera and come and do this. And I hope you had a good time, Patty, because they've
Well, I'm not done yet.
Oh, she's not done yet. Well, you guys roll then, boy.
Man, I don't know how long we can stay on here. I'm having
As
fun.
long, Leilani, as long as you like, we don't want to overstay our
This is
welcome
like
with you.
therapy for me. It's therapy. When I talk about things that bothered me, it's like therapy. When I get started, you won't be able to shut me up. So, but I'm enjoying myself.
But you said your legacy was teaching, but
Yes.
as fans, again, me and Jimmy and we grew up as WWF fans, right? So obviously we watched some of the regional stuff. We were not as well rounded as the great Sal Corrente on the bottom of that box there. But as a wrestler, do you realize the importance that you had wrestling at WrestleMania 1 during the Rock and Wrestling era, which changed the face of pro wrestling? Do you realize what you have and Judy have paved the way for these $1 million female wrestlers now? Do you realize what you meant to wrestling, both as individual wrestlers and finally as the Glamour girls? To go off what Jimmy had said at the beginning of the show, you both wrestled the Jumping Bomb Angels, who actually changed the industry to what it is now also. And you guys facilitated that, right?
Yes. And there's only one wish I could, if I could have had the wish, was that as the Glamour Girls and the Bomb Angels with Jimmy Hart could have went into the Hall of Fame all together. As the first female tag team. I think that would have been a privilege, for us. And today, I don't know why Vince hasn't did any of the older girls except for Moolah and May. May come after the fact, but we'll never know, I guess.
Guys, let me say one more thing on behalf of my friends here. These two ladies, and really several of the other girls as well, didn't want to do anything but go out, work hard, be treated fairly, and be paid fairly. These are two very humble women. They excelled at what they did. They weren't treated as good as they certainly could have been treated. And but as humble gets, there is no ego with these ladies whatsoever, and there never has been. I've known them since I'm 18, and now that I'm 25, I can say that they've never
looking good, proud at 25, looking good.
They've never had one bit of ego about them ever. So hopefully more people come along the business like them, but I doubt it.
I spent most of my years in wrestling in Japan. I went over there 23 times. I like 3 times a year, 2 months at a time. So I spent a lot of time over there. That's where I got a lot of my training. I was just hungry to learn as much as I could. It was stale to me after a while because everything was always the same. And I didn't know how to teach myself. But I went to Japan. I realized when the first time I went over there that this is where I want to go so I can learn and teach myself. I just wanted to learn.
You guys realize that these shows in Japan they were not mixed shows. These were the guys had guys shows, the women had women shows. Not like it is here.
Right. Ladies,
the women drew some big shows over there.
Ladies, how did it feel when, I want to go back a little bit. WrestleMania happens. The ladies are a huge part of it. History takes its course. The WrestleMania starts to become the Super Bowl of its sport. And then Vince loses interest with the ladies. How did that? I mean, it's probably pretty obvious, but how did that make you feel, considering all the hard work you put in? You got along with Vince, so he treated you well, from what you've told us. But then Vince becomes disinterested in the ladies. How did that make you guys feel? I mean, after all, you are pillars of the whole thing in the first place. Judy?
For me, I was really hurt and angry and really disappointed in this. Something I spent my time and effort as being the best I could be at and everything. And for, in this male dominant sports and everything, for him to say that he's not going to be using women anymore.
For a while, he said.
Yeah,
He
for a
said for a
while.
while, just want to take a break from the women. I guess he got disgusted whenever we switched to belts in Japan. This when it all started.
And then to see him using Lillian afterwards, that was a very, to me, was very heartbreaking. I mean, it really hurt to know that that happened, and then it you go through a phase and you get angry, and then you try to figure out why this happened. Was it as good as I thought I was, or was it, what did I do wrong, or something
Right,
like that, or what could made me better at what I was doing
right.
to be, to get into a bigger spot and stuff like that. It just, for me, it really did a brain thing with me to where I really hated wrestling. I mean, at one time, it was like I didn't watch wrestling for God for so many years. And then, I mean, I didn't even want nobody to know I was a wrestler because it hurt so bad. Well, you were there or that when they find out, they ask you why. And there's no answer you can give them is why they're not using women at that time. And then they come back with Moolah in May at that time. And then, you know, then the girls coming in as then the next period to come through, the girls used as a sex object more than anything else.
He
Right,
was
during the
obligated
Attitude
to
Era.
always use Lillian no matter what. He was obligated to that. So
Leilani,
his
what was
father used Lillian, and they were close. We used to go out to eat together. It's when Lillian called Japan and told us to switch to belts over there, and she knew we were going to do WrestleMania. She was angry because she would not be in the middle of the ring of WrestleMania. She'd be on the outside again watching it. That's the reason why he stopped using the girls, because of all that mess that happened.
So did Moolah want to be physically in the main event at the first WrestleMania? Was this some sort of dissent from coming from her to, like, I'm just curious. It
He
sounds
made
like she
me
wasn't.
feel like that she was angry with me that I was up there and she was on the bottom
She wanted
watching
to be
up
in the
there the
ring.
biggest show of the century, and I didn't really give a damn. I
Right.
did not care. They pulled me out of Japan. That's all. I just wanted to work. I didn't know if I was going to make more money. I didn't care because I wasn't making more money somewhere else and then somewhere else making more. I didn't make more there than I did in Japan. I mean, I just
Right.
wanted to make a living. I don't care if it's WrestleMania or Boom, whatever it was. I didn't care. I just did not care. And then she ruined it for us, telling us to switch the belts because she wasn't going to be at WrestleMania. She was going to make sure we were going to be there. So she called us and told us to switch the belts. So they got angry with us and got rid of us because of that. But he
They
still had to use Lillian. He still had to use her because he's obligated to. For some reason, he just was.
Ladies, I have a question. We talked about Moolah. How did the boys treat you in the locker room? Were they always respectful, or were they jealous
Always.
also?
Always. If you treated them with respect and don't try to bear over them because it's a man's dominated world wrestling is, then you're okay. I let them be the man and run the shows. I worked as hard as I could because I wanted to be part of the event to make it good. It takes everybody, not just one person, not just one baby face. It takes everybody, and mainly it takes the bottom card, the bottom feeders, as you call them. The bottom cards is the most important of all the matches, of all the shows, the bottom of the card. Because they're the ones that started out, and if they start out bad, it's going to be bad for the whole thing. Yeah, everybody's important in wrestling. If you're on an event, everybody's there for a meaning. It don't take one person. And if you got a big star, you had that one person come there, nobody else. Do you think it's going to draw a card? No, it's not.
Yeah,
Yep.
all the guys was very respected towards us, and I think that that's because you know we were respectful back, and it was it was more of a family part. I mean, they look at if we didn't have a ride. I mean, the guys would offer us rides and stuff like that. If we were driving and some of the guys need a ride, we gave them a ride too. But they were always super nice.
Were you
All
ladies
right, ladies, we're gonna go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead,
going to
Jimmy.
ask, were you ladies surprised when about 7 years or so ago, Ronda Rousey comes into the WWE, and Vince McMahon begins the women's evolution. Did you trust it as it was happening, considering your past experiences in the business, or were you pleasantly surprised that at least Vince was giving them the push that had seemed so long overdue? What were your thoughts when women's wrestling was finally coming back to the forefront, starting with the first ever pay-per-view for women only, Evolution in Vince's company history? Any thoughts on where the ladies have come so quickly in the last 7 years?
I don't know.
I don't think they need Ronda Rousey at that time. I think those girls could have pulled it off on their own.
Oh, I agree. But Vince,
I
Yeah.
thought a
Vince
lot
brought
of
her
girls
in
up in New York were really good workers. I mean, there was Mickey
Right.
James. There's a lot of girls that they were working really good. They
right.
had some good matches, and they were exciting. And I don't know who their trainer was up there, but whoever's was, they were doing a good job. So,
Any thoughts on Charlotte Flair? I personally think she's the best. But any
oh
thoughts
yeah,
on
she's good. She's very
I think
good.
I think Charlotte. I think Charlotte is Bailey.
Bailey's
Bailey,
great?
I like Bailey
I
too.
like Bailey, because
Sure.
I would have loved to work with Bailey.
Yeah,
What do you
Bailey
think?
seems like an old school type person. Like
Yeah.
her
Ha-
heart's there's an old school type person. You can always tell. You know,
Any
she don't
thought? Any
care. She don't care what she has to do. She just wants to have fun out there.
any
That's
thoughts on
what it seems like to me.
any thoughts
So,
on Becky Lynch?
um, I don't think I really watched her very much, but
Okay,
I
fair
thought she
enough.
was pretty good.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I just thought she was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to
All
gauge
right,
them, Mike. I wasn't going to ask about
guys.
Sasha Banks.
All right, we want to hit the ladies with the Pharaoh's final question before we go. Jimmy, this is Jimmy's final question to you. I want to thank you both, iconic figures in wrestling. Thank you for what you've done for this industry, and thank you for what you've done for its fans. Jimmy.
All right, let's do it. It's traditional, but I'm going to do it because of the stature of these two ladies. I want each of you to give me your Mount Rushmore. I want four women wrestlers from each of you who would deserve to be in sculptured forever on the mountainside. Who are they to you? Judy, you go first.
Whoa. Well, I think Charlotte, Medusa, Bailey,
Wow.
and the Bomb Angels.
Wow.
That's five, Judy.
Yeah,
I-
technically, but
But
whatever.
the first
I
three I
No,
thought
no,
you
picked
said
out.
You count the bombs as one as a team.
He's
Oh,
pulling the
okay.
faction card. It's the bloodline.
That was a good choice.
Yeah. How about
That's a
you?
good choice.
What do you say, Lalani?
Well, God, I like most of them. Well, I'd say Medusa, Wendy, you talking about girls back then or current?
Oh, you can make them of all time. Any ground you want to cover.
Oh, God, just I don't want to hurt my feelings because there's so many good ones.
There's only four. Only four can make it.
Okay, I'd say Medusa, Wendy, because these are girls I work with that got me. You know, if I wasn't with them, I wouldn't be on big cards. I'd have to say Moolah.
There it is.
I have to say
Okay.
her because not because I like her or anything like
Right.
that, because she is a
Right.
legend, and she did
Yep.
she did start out with the girls, and she's a pioneer that got the girls on the cards like they are now. You know, it would have been for her taking girls on the road and having a school, then it wouldn't be going on right now. Just the girls taught themselves, but she's a pioneer that started everything.
Right.
So I have
You
to
got
say Moolah, and I don't like her, but she is she is a legend. Can't take that away from her. She worked for it. Moolah, Medusa, Wendy. Oh, I'm saying the girls that have been on TV the most. And Charlotte Flair.
nice.
I
There
know
we
go.
those four.
I
All
thought
right,
you was
last but
gonna-
not least, what about Sal?
Sal as one of the
Sal. Come on,
statues.
Sal. Give it up, Sal.
Sal.
Well, I used to love to watch Sal as a cheese man. You know, doing that cheese gimmick. I loved it. You know, I used to run to the door to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah, I ran to the
Leilani
door.
Kai
Well,
putting
it
Sal the
was so
Cheese
funny.
Man over.
It entertained me, you know. I used to like to go run out there with
Wow.
bushwhackers when the bushwhackers go out to the ring, or like Road Warrior. He ran out to the ring one time, and I think he ran out the door, locked himself out, or something. I can't remember if
He did
Judy
that
was
over
with
in
me or
Egypt.
somebody was with me that happened.
Yeah,
Did that
these
happen to
ladies
you,
are
Judy, or
wrestlers
was
that
it
can
something you told me?
entertain, right?
Was you there, Judy? It was a blackjack in the ring, and he ran out the door, locked himself out, and started banging on the doors. Was it you, Judy, there?
I'm thinking we were in Shreveport.
But Blackjack was in the ring waiting on him, and he went out and did his ring around the ring and all. He bumped into people. He ran to the crowd, and he ran right out the back door, and he couldn't get in. And the music was still going for like 5 minutes.
Might as
And the
well.
music stopped, and then they let him in the door, and he just walked out to the ring.
Oh
He
my
blowed
God.
up.
Might as well make a stop at Checkers. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy, send us out. Thank you again, ladies.
By the way,
too.
Sal didn't give his Mount Rushmore. What about you, Sal?
You know, look, it's hard for me to do that because, but as far as ladies just working, I've got to go back to my start. And, you know, but it's tough. You're going to leave people out that were just great. But for my money, old school wrestling, I'll take these two ladies and Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre.
There you go.
And if we move it into the next loop, then I've got to go with the Bomb Angels. I planned on being in Charlotte. I was very sorry I wasn't there because I wanted to. I mean, I did, bump into them back in the day, but I would have rather liked to met them now. But I'm telling you, when these girls worked with Princess and Velvet, I mean, they tore it up just as well, and they were great matches every night. But you've got other girls that were really good too, and Peggy Lee, certainly our friend who's gone too soon, Joyce Grable. And the one thing that you guys may or may not know, but if my memory suits me correctly, Judy and Joyce Grable actually worked against men in a tag match in the Omni in maybe the late 70s, but probably the early 80s.
It was the early 80s.
And they held their own with Steve-O and somebody. I don't remember who the other guy was.
The Mountie.
Jacques Rougeau, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
But he wasn't working. I don't even think he was working as a Rougeau at the time.
No.
Jerry somebody, right?
He's going to Jacques Rougeau about that at that time.
The bottom line is that didn't happen in those days, but it did in this particular case in some sort of a tag team tournament.
With Ole Anderson with the brains behind that, believe it or not.
Yeah, it was a big deal at the time. You want to talk about things that changed the ground? That was certainly one. And Joyce was another great competitor.
Joyce was so easy. She was so easy to work with, and so was Velvet and Princess Victoria. It was like a night off for them. It was so easy. There's just so many good talent out there. You just can't pick one or two. I was just picking off the top of my head the girls that had made a lot of TV. That's why I said Mount Rushmore. Because it made so much TV, and that's who the fans would know. And some that didn't do much TV, and Moolah had a lot of good girls. I like working with Susan Green also. She kind of helped train me along the way, and so I mean,
girls. Liz Chase was a great wrestler.
Yeah, she was just short term though. She didn't stay very long.
She was, but she was. She was in Egypt with us on our tour. And there's just other girls that were really good as well. But these folks were shined above and everybody else. And I'm very glad that this Glamour Girl thing came up because they deserved it. They deserved to make the money. And me and Jimmy talk about it from time to time. And it's good that we finally got them on here so people could hear, their side of the story.
There it is, Mike.
Love it, Sal. Jimmy, send us out. Again, thank you, guys. God bless you. Have a great Labor Day, and I appreciate you coming on Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Thank you guys for having us.
Ladies,
thank you, everybody, and thank you guys and all your listeners. I had a good time. I could
It
still
was-
go on and on, but I know there's no time for that. So
It was an absolute honor meeting you two at the gathering. It was an absolute highlight for me. And Mike, you know what I learned tonight? The roster back in the day for the women was just as loaded as our perception of today's women's roster. You know, that's something I take out of this because there was great talent, like Sal said.
Couldn't agree more, Jimmy.
Yep,
Couldn't agree
ladies.
more. Could not
Ladies,
agree more.
it was an honor meeting you both, and thank you so much for coming on the show. Sal, thank you for helping. You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, and until next week, let the hijinks continue. Peace, everybody. Later.
Later.